and what's the other guy's name
Lou.
again?
Lou.
Lou. Yeah, the fight ended with a towel being just like mercilessly thrown into the middle of a dangerous situation, being thrown onto the ring helplessly. We were both very offended when that happened. It was just despicable to watch. Like, and it was just suspended in midair. It's like I had to
Get it all
watch
out.
that happen over the course of several seconds, and they were just drawing it out because they knew how much it would hurt us.
It seems like you were
Absolutely.
It seems like you were
Just
so worked up.
despicable. I felt horrible. We felt
Dude,
horrible.
I believe it. It seems like you were so worked up. You just like ripped off your shirt and you also threw it, and it just so happened to land on
That
your doorknob.
too.
You
All
had to bring in
three of
emotional
us.
support with the t-shirt. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like now my towel can't be left alone anymore. It gets anxious, so I had to put the shirt here too to build a whole support system.
I just want to say, Josh, I'm
Use that
sorry.
light switch.
I was not thinking about your feelings during those moments, so I just
No
wanted
one was.
I just want to stay here on the podium and just
Thank
apologize
you.
for being
Thank you.
blind to
That means a
all
lot.
the towel abuse that happens in like 2 scenes.
Yes, that's crazy.
Oh, Josh
It was
slapping in a
glorious.
sub.
Gotta support my boy.
Nah, we all know that came from the towel.
Yeah, towel's my sugar
He's the
daddy.
loaded one in the relationship.
I mean, sure as shit ain't me.
Yeah, you with all your elaborate flights.
Yeah, exactly. I had to write a
Touring
check for
the world.
$1,000 today. Nearly.
Ooh.
Yeah, dude. It's like my whole net worth.
All right, is everything running good?
It looks good, yeah.
It's not lagging.
Everything looks good. I'm not used to Josh being next to me, but it is what it is.
Well,
My hair
that's what
looks great.
happens when I stream to Discord. That's how it adjusts us. So if it's not obvious
we have to do.
already, Mitch is maybe not joining us tonight, so we just had to throw this together last minute. So we'll have Mitch still with us in spirit to talk about the last 7 episodes of Megalobox 2 Nomad. And I gotta say, yeah, I mean, this is just good all around, you know. I don't think there was really a downtime. I guess the only thing I could complain about is just Mac in general. They wanted me to have a lot of like sympathy towards him, but it's like we're already at like we're kind of near the end here, you know. I care more about this guy, not all this shit going on right now.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because it seems like they were structuring. I mean, Joe was having his comeback story, like that's the whole purpose of the second season. So I don't know. It seemed like this last half of season 2, he was gonna get back in the ring, but just based on everything that we saw beforehand, I figured it was gonna be with Lou or something else, some other threat. But they worked so hard on developing this Mac character, and I was like torn whether or not to feel bad for him or to dislike him or to cheer for him. It was like a mix, um, because like he had like this whole history where he was, I don't know, he had like a real bad temper. He couldn't control himself in the ring, and then some shit happened. He's a cop, and then he sacrificed himself to go into a burning building and save some kids, and got caught up in some gang violence, and then got shot, and then got completely paralyzed, and now he's a victim of Roscoe, which is like this whole lore organization, which we'll probably end up covering. But I don't know.
Like the main villain that we're led to believe in like this latter half of the series is just it has nothing to do with Joe. Like it's now focused on this side character that we're introduced to that completely bodies the antagonist in quotes that we thought we were going to have with Lou. But ultimately it was just a bad guy to be a bad guy, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I just didn't care.
Yeah, I didn't really care about Lou. Like I didn't really have any opinion about him. I thought he was just kind of annoying. Like he thought he was all that, I guess.
Mm.
Um, And I just
Well,
felt bad for the guy after he just got fucking destroyed. But his whole like philosophy on it after the fact, I was kind of triggered at that. I don't know why he wasn't salty at what happened. I'm assuming I don't know. We'll probably talk about it later unless you want to talk about it now. But I don't know. I felt bad for the guy after, and it kind of pissed me off just in general.
Yeah.
well, guess we can talk about it now. Like overall, Lou is just what Yuri's successor in the ring because Yuri obviously can't fight anymore because he's wheelchair bound now. So now he had a successor that defeated Joe in the original in the beginning of this series. And now after 5 years has passed, he's been like the longest reigning champion of Megaloboxing, and we've been just kind of hyped up the entire time that Joe and Lou are gonna have a rematch and it's gonna be like a legit fight. Um, it starts off with Joe becoming his sparring partner for like a night, and we got to see the old just gearless Joe kind of return, which is cool. And I mean, I liked him. I understood his motivation because he's like living in the shadow of not only Joe but Yuri because everyone's just like, "Oh my god, the guy that beat the champ, the the old champ successor," you know? Uh
What I didn't get here is that Lou had some regret about the fight. He's like, I didn't fight Joe at his best. And I don't know
yeah.
if he meant like emotionally, if the training
Yeah.
wasn't there.
Well,
I
no,
don't think
he
Joe had
could tell
fear.
something
Probably
was
both.
off with Joe because all
Yeah.
with the stuff was going on with Nambu. He didn't really know how to cope with it. So he was definitely off his game, and it's been like maybe a year or two after he, wasn't in the ring. So, I mean, granted, he was probably doing some light training, but he probably wasn't at his best, which
Mhm.
is what Lou regrets about that fight. So he hasn't really been able to prove himself to like the bests because he can't fight Yuri, and really he didn't get the chance to fight against Gearless Joe at his prime. So now he
Mhm.
just kind of feels like this little like just I don't know hole in him right now that he
Mhm.
wanted to prove that he's the best of the best by beating both of them or just at least getting a rematch with Joe. And I mean,
I like
I understand what it's like to feel like living in somebody's shadows, so I can empathize with him a little bit. But it's just I was excited to see the rematch between Joe and Lou, but that was just cut short because this random ass guy Mac comes out of nowhere, and then he just has the Mac time, fucking Big Mac special deal at McDonald's coming in, just
Mac and
going like,
cheese
how
time.
how it
yeah,
whipped his ass.
yeah, and then he just completely bodies Lou and just completely messes up his back or his spine, and he can't walk anymore. He's gonna need like crazy like treatments and what's the word for it? Where you're
Physical
Physical
recovering.
therapy.
therapy.
Yeah, therapy and shit for that. So I was disappointed by that.
I liked I like how they brought Joe back into it. Like they kind of roped him in to be Lou's sparring partner. And like that whole scene I thought was random where Lou just randomly goes to Joe's little hut and he talks some shit to it. And then like the next day, Joe just shows up and then he just all of a sudden starts sparring with him. And, Joe walks in there, no gear. And then Lou's getting ready to fight. And then Yuri's like, yo, you're going to regret this shit again if you don't match his vibe. So
That was a cool
the
little
vibe check.
sparring match because they both
Yeah.
started off with like training gear on and stuff, and then when Joe finally got warmed up, that's when like the headgear and like the body gear came off, and then Yuri's just like, "You'll regret this if you don't fight him right now." And so enough,
Yeah.
he strips off, and we have two muscly men beating it out in each other in the ring.
That's the real reason why we watch this, right?
Yeah,
Look
no
Hmm.
at
other
him. Like,
reason.
he's ready for this shit. Look at him.
Two men beating off in the ring. Yep.
But I loved it. I loved seeing him back in the ring. I don't know. It seemed the animations were really good. Like the choreography was done really well. It seemed so smooth. You got the music playing. Like constantly in this last half of the season, there was constantly like some background music going on that just I don't know, it just matched the vibe so well. It was really well done. But specifically with like the sparring time, like the sparring match, my immersion was just destroyed when fucking Bonji boy just rips off the fucking table and then just runs away because they were all just like fighting and you hear the crash out of nowhere and they just stop. And I'm like, well, fuck, like that shit was going so well. Like, I wanted to see the outcome of it. I mean, it's just a sparring match, but man, this guy fucked it. He fucked it for everyone.
Yep.
Yeah, they gave us a little tease, and I was excited because after that sparring match, we are gonna have like the real match. But yeah, that's when the new boy Mac comes in. We have any thoughts on Mac? The new contender. What was his? The hero. That's what they called him. That was
Yeah.
his title.
So Joe's the legend, and then Mac is the hero because of like that whole story of him sacrificing himself for the children.
Mm-hmm.
Right, Mitch?
Mm-mm-mm.
Yep.
I don't know what's so tasty about burning children, but Jesus, man. But to
Yeesh.
go up the backstory of Max real quick is that he was a very hot-headed boxer that always lost his shit when he was starting to lose. So then that got him into trouble with a corporation, and eventually he just kind of stopped after getting injured a bit too much, and he started a career as a police officer where he got the title the hero when he ran to a burning building and saved a bunch of kids. But it was from that he got was it a spinal injury?
He
Yeah,
got
he got
shot.
he got shot. Yeah, he got shot in this whatever. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Can't be stuck on
yeah.
that
He
spine.
ran
It's
to a
injured.
burning building with like what? A bunch of fucking
He
is a
ran. He
bunch of
ran
gang
into
members
a.
just
The
shooting at
building
him.
was on fire while there was a gang fight happening in the building, and there were also kids in the building. So there was a bunch of shit going on, but he was determined to save the kids
Mm.
despite everything going on. So he got the kids out. They didn't die. They didn't burn up or whatever. But he ended up getting clipped by a bullet or something, and so that's why he got paralyzed.
Yeah.
And then that's when we get. Well, we already like probably seen him at this point. The new like corporation Roscoe was it
Yeah, so it's like
Bosco.
this partnership
with
between this
Yusuf
new
leading the corporation?
yeah, right. No, I don't want to be that fucking dipshit. That tap dancer. Oh my god, dude. I wanted to fuck oh my god, dude. They gave the tap dancer more fucking screen time than Lou at this point, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a reigning champ.
Dude,
Yeah, like
all the
Rocco.
antagonists needs like their bit, you know? Either
Yeah.
like they're like a chess master or they're always sipping on some wine or some shit. This guy's tap dancing just like the
Mhm.
Joker vibe, you know?
Yeah, it was like it just looked so weird. It was I don't know, it was so unsettling. But they're like this bioengineering company, like medical shit, whatever, that partnered up with Shirato as like I don't know, sponsoring their
Which
shit,
is
like
the like
they're endorsing
original.
whatever. Yeah, and there's like what is it called, like a BES chip or something like that. I forgot what it stands
I think
for.
it was like Beth. I think the name was Beth or something. Or Bertha.
BES, yes, Bess.
BES, okay, best.
Bess. Baskin
So like
Robbins.
So kind of like we find out gradually because Mac keeps like he has like these personality issues and he has like these random outbreaks at home. He's fucking wailing on his kid or like destroying the book and the toys and like stealing his food,
Dude, that
eating the
So
dirt.
dude,
weird.
Mac at
So
home
weird.
scared the shit out. I was so nervous the entire time like Mac
Oh
was
yeah.
at home because I mean, the reason why Mac recovered from like his like spinal injury or whatever is because the head of Yusuf, the head of Roscoe, he went to the mother or his
Okay, I'm
wife.
gonna interrupt. I don't even think we learned the dude's name. Did we?
I don't even
I have
remember.
no
We
fucking
have
clue
to
what his
know
name is.
it, but I'm just gonna call
I'm
him
gonna call him
Yusuf from
Tap. I'm gonna call
Roscoe.
him. No, I'd rather call him Tap Dancer because I don't want to be associated with that fuck face, dude.
So Yusuf from Roscoe,
Too bad.
Stop, dude.
Ah.
Oh. Fucking, I lost my train of thought. Oh,
Dude, I'm fucking triggered, bro.
That's how excited he is, dude.
Yay.
Dude,
To
Mitch
be
is more
the
excited than
main
me at this point.
antagonist.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, Mitch is just like, spinal
Be-
injury.
Baskin Robbins, 31 flavors of mental instability.
Exactly.
So before this stuff happened to Mac, before he got totaled, their kid Miguel had this heart condition and needed a transplant. So that happened before. Then Mac is like, well, fuck it. I'm just gonna fucking sacrifice myself at this point. So then now he gets fucked over. So now the wifey's all alone.
Yeah, the
She's like,
kids dying, the husband's dying, or
yeah,
well, can potentially
Bedridden.
recover. So, I mean, we'll
yeah.
rip
So
the
we got tap
band-aid off
dancer from
about
Ikea.
that. Is that Yusuf from Roscoe approached the wife and it was like, hey, listen, I understand that you need a heart transplant or a donor for your child. We'll give you the donor, but you will give us your husband's body for our Baskin Robbins experiment. So, with that, she was like, hey, this is a golden deal for me or for our family. So, she decided to, not only save the child, but the husband got implanted with the Baskin Robbins chip in his head. So, with all those flavors going around and all those mixes in his head, um,
Yeah,
it's
man, that's what I'm
completely
saying.
screwed up with his psyche. So he has like flares where he completely just zoinks out. Where they call it what, Mac time,
Mac
Big
time.
Mac,
Yeah.
Big Mac with
He
Baskin
enters
Robbins
Mac
time.
time.
Gotcha.
And they
So
like associate it with him like when he's in the ring, he enters like this super stressful situation, like emotionally stressed. And so it like spikes his brain waves and now he can't like process things normally. So now he's just on autopilot entering macaroni time. So I think it's like any like emotional
Yeah. Anytime
any
he's filled with like
emotional
a bunch of adrenaline, honestly, yeah.
yeah,
yeah.
well, what happened
Because even like the
at
sound guy.
home? It at home it seems like random flares where like
Well, that's the thing. There was
where
even a trigger. She was like
She hit
smacking the
she hit
thing.
the glass with her spoon and it kind of sounded like the starting bell of
Mm.
a fight, I guess.
Oh,
That's
that
what
makes
I
sense.
thought that it was supposed to represent. And so his brain heard that and it was like it's fighting time.
Well,
And so he just like kicked into
from
overdrive.
what I gathered from how macaroni and Big
Punching
Mac
time.
time goes, um, it like it just switches him back to like a primal like form of thinking where it's just like I need food. I'm gonna steal this food. Oh, I'm gonna just destroy this shit in my way.
Yeah.
It's like
And that's what
he
happens in
reverts
the
back.
ring.
They were saying he like reverts back to like a child mentality. And there's like this whole like Mugman makes a guest appearance. He's a professor. Surprise, surprise.
Dude, he's such a
He
cocky
writes,
shit, and I love him.
I just love
yeah,
that you remember to call him Mugman.
yeah,
Mugman,
Mugman.
never
'Cause I don't even
forget.
remember his name
I
at
have
this
my
point.
mug bit ruined. Never mind.
Yeah,
Let's go.
Rip.
It wasn't on my
there we
floor
go.
chilling here for a week.
He's a professor. He's like,
Hmm.
I can teach these children about macaroni.
Dude, if it's been on the floor for a week, don't put it on your mouth. What's wrong with you?
Go fuck.
What the fuck was that? Is that
What?
not a real mug?
That's a real mug. But he said it's been on his floor for like a week.
Oh, you like put that in your mouth? It looked like it bent, bro. Oh wow, it's just the stash.
Yeah, right. Has
Yeah,
its own
good Lord.
distortion feel to it.
Nice, yeah. Some looking hallucinogenic
Mm-hmm.
hair.
But it's completely empty. So
Okay.
Yeah. So he writes this thesis. He's like, "Yo, macaroni ain't macaroni. This is his brain. Look at it." And so there's all these fucking pictures and shit.
On
And
this
then
episode of
yeah,
How Fucked Up Is That Fucked Up? That's fucked up.
That's fucked up.
tap dancer's like, "Yo, cover that shit up. Threaten
Yeah,
him.
don't worry about it.
Tell him we'll go take his mug away.
Well, it
Tell
was
him there ain't
just
no more refills."
Yeah, and like Yusuf from Roscoe's like assistant that he trusts to like, fudge with the numbers to make it look like his readings are normal or in the safe zone, just so happens to have been a student with Mugman when he on his first like year as being a professor. I'm like, ooh,
Okay,
that's a nice little coincidence.
I do have a question about that because like when that one student like went to go talk to him and like say, "Hey, you got to pull this off, or else we're gonna get our lawyers and shit." And there was one other girl in the classroom, and she just kept waving. And then it was like
That
in
was
the
like a
courtyard
that was
on
like a
campus,
that was
and
like a past version of her.
That's the impression I got as well. That she was
really?
like
That's
seeing
her
she was like
seeing like a
seeing
flashback of
herself.
when she was at the university. It looked
hmm
exactly like her, just with longer hair.
because at that point Mugman was like saying something along the lines of like,
Hmm.
I understand you gotta do what you gotta do, but just kind of remember you were a student here once and you like believed in doing what was right, even if it wasn't
Well, and
um
and plus,
like
like Mugman mentioned,
rich or getting rich.
like originally like quoted like her like thesis or like a paper that she wrote, and then she was like, "How'd you remember that?" And he's like, "How could I forget my first year of teaching and stuff?" And we lost Josh. Bye, Josh. Welcome back,
Hey,
Josh.
I thought that was better than turning off the camera. All right.
Welcome back, Josh. How's the
It is
towel
better.
today?
All right,
Yeah,
Josh. I don't know. Would you rather be Josh from Roscoe or oh shit? I don't know. I
no,
guess you could take
listen,
Powell. That's fine.
listen, I wanna circle back actually because I just remembered during the fight with fucking Mac and what's the other guy's name
Lou.
again?
Lou.
Lou. Yeah, the fight ended with a towel being just like mercilessly thrown into the middle of a dangerous situation, being thrown onto the ring
Yeah.
helplessly. We were both very offended when that happened. It was just despicable to watch. Like, and it was just
Lord,
suspended in midair. It's like I had to
get it all
watch
out.
that happen over the course of several seconds, and they were just drawing it out because they knew how much it would hurt us.
Yeah,
It seems like you were so. It
Absolutely
seems like you were so
just
worked up.
despicable, just like just I felt horrible. We felt
Dude,
horrible.
I believe it. It seems like you were so worked up. You just like ripped off your shirt and you also threw it, and it just so happened to land on
That
your doorknob.
too.
you had
All
to bring in
three of
emotional
us.
support with the T-shirt. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like now my towel can't be left alone anymore. It gets anxious, so I had to put the shirt here too to build a whole support system.
I just want
You're
to
gonna
It's
say,
look like
just
Josh,
that. You're
I'm
gonna use that
sorry.
light switch. Nick?
I was not thinking about your feelings during those moments. So
no one was.
I just want to stay here on the podium and just
Thank
apologize
you.
for being
Thank you.
blind to
That means a
all
lot.
the towel abuse that happens in like two scenes.
Yes.
Dude, they
That
didn't
means a
even.
lot.
He didn't even acknowledge the towel. The towel was there. He just ignored it.
Nah,
He
he
just
was in
fucking.
Mac mode.
Exactly.
Mac
He
mode. He
just
doesn't give a fuck
No
about
one
no
thought.
towel.
Everybody was focused on picking up Lou after he got beaten down. It's like, hey, who's gonna pick up the towel? Unbelievable, bro. Unacceptable.
Unacceptable.
In 2022, really?
I just don't know how this dude rocked him so hard that he fucking just paralyzed him. I can't like unless he crushed his neck or some shit, like he broke his neck because Lou was like falling, like he was horizontal at this point. He just fucking
And he's
dude, he just
still, yeah.
pulled him down like
Hmm.
while he was falling, like and all the blood just like came out of his nose. I don't know what the fuck happened, but
Well, he probably got like multiple fucking concussions or some
brutality,
shit.
dude.
Well,
Yeah.
It was brutal.
yeah, I mean, just when Mac goes into his Big Mac macaroni time, he just doesn't hold back.
hmm
Like, I'm sure some boxers maybe pull their punch when they're going for like the head or something like that because they know if they hit him with like a certain force in a certain spot, they could potentially kill the other person. But with when Big Mac macaroni time's going on, he doesn't give a fuck. Granted, I'm no expert at boxing, but that was my idea of it.
This
Yeah.
whole that whole fight too, like when Mac was entering. By the way, like their entrances were pretty cool. I don't know if you guys like paid attention to that. Like they had their whole little like intro and shit like that. Like they did that a bit in season one. It was nice to see that again. Like they got like their music and entrance and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
And when Mac
All
came
the
in
custom.
and
I really did like the like the design of all their like logos and stuff. You know, it was
Yeah.
all like stylized, and it felt very genuine, like an
Mhm.
actual entrance. And it was pretty cool.
Yeah. But then like when Mac walked in, he like his eyes were just attracted to Joe's. And
Because
Joe's
Joe was
like,
there.
I remember those eyes. I remember that hair.
He looked at me, and I looked at
And he looked at
him,
him.
and a child asked me, "Why is he looking at you?" And I was
Yeah.
like, "I don't fucking know." And he kept looking at me, and then I got caught on the news, and then got called out.
Yeah. But Joe is just reminded of Chief, right? By looking at this Mac dude.
Well, it's because like the whole hummingbird thing, right?
Well, he didn't even know about the hummingbird thing and until he
He had like
commented on
the
his
same
gear.
vibe as Chief, I guess.
Yeah, there's like this whole
He
thing of
knelt down in the
hummingbird.
corner of the ring, and it
Yeah,
reminded him
yeah,
of how
that's right.
Chief like knelt down in front of his son's grave
Hmm.
or something. And
Yeah.
I believe that the um understanding is that they like came from the same foreign land
Yeah.
that where they speak Spanish, but they never call it Mexico or Spain or anything. So,
Hmm.
but they both came from across the sea, and so they have the same
They
sort of
both
like
made the
traditions or
trip
whatever.
to a new land. But was there anything else we want to talk about with the whole Lou and Mac fight? Josh, you're the one that sidetracked us.
Yeah, Towel got absolutely bodied. I think that's what we need to focus on. But
Yeah.
no,
We
obviously
gotta stop abuse
that
of
kind of
towels in shows and other
yeah,
sorts of media. It's pretty fucked up.
exactly. In the same way that I kind of threw derailed the conversation, Lou getting absolutely fucking bodied by
Mhm.
Mac derails his chance of ever fighting Joe in like an official ring and like through to the end of an actual fight or whatever. They did the sparring session, but now there's just no shot that Lou is, or at least not for the foreseeable future. There's not a shot that Lou is able to fight Joe because he's so
Yeah.
badly injured
I
because of this
mean,
And that
fight.
was like the whole thing that after this
mhm.
fight, like Mac was just gonna be just like a warm up. I think Lou like completely underestimated him, and then he was gonna
N-
fight Joe after.
no, Lou was taking his time with the fight. He completely, he did not overestimate or underestimate Mac. I think
No, I'm
he,
saying
I
before,
think,
like
I
before
think.
the fight, he's like, I'm gonna fight this Mac dude, and then I'm gonna fight you right after
Hmm. Well,
Joe.
I mean, he wasn't win or lose. He still wanted to fight Joe. Just because
Yeah.
Lou lost
Hmm.
doesn't mean he was going to lose his chance to fight Joe. But he was just trying not to. I think the one aspect of Mac that he underestimated was the whole mac and cheese, peanut butter jelly time, phase that he had. That completely fucking bodied him and put him into therapy.
Put him into a coma.
Yeah, and they pretty much left loose. I mean, they keep like going back to Lou just to have like a heart to heart with like him and his trainer, and then him and Yuri, and he has a talk with Joe, and eventually he meets up with like Mac and his family, and he's like, because he feels bad about the whole situation that happened, but ultimately we're just here to see Lou on the bed, and then like near the end he gets you see him do some stretches, but they kind of leave his future pretty ambiguous.
Yeah, I mean, what kind of like triggered me a bit is like this entire time he's like, yeah, I don't blame him. It's fine.
They're all
It is
boxers,
what it
man.
is. I'm like, dude, the towel was thrown. He fucking just brutalized you, and
Hmm. Well, by the time
you
the
had
towel hit the
to
ground, like Max Fist was already coming in. He was fucked.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, he's gonna get that shot in. Yeah, it's probably really hard to stop your fist like mid fucking going, and he's not even in his right mind anymore. So I don't even like even if the towel hit the ground like 5 minutes beforehand, Mac would have completely bodied Lou. Still, there was no stopping him. Lou had to fucking run
Nah,
out
dude,
that ring.
Yuri would have fucking rolled up into that ring. He would have fucking
There's no
stopped it with his wheel.
how. There's no ramp. Yeah, think on that one.
Yeah. Hmm.
What? What?
Okay, moving on.
Sorry, I lost all focus when you said it's hard to stop your punch mid going. instead of
let him
like
go.
mid swing or just mid punch
I know,
again.
that's it.
Even if you use the same word twice, but you said mid going.
And I
That's
stand
incredible.
behind the
It's
word
incredible.
going. It can represent a lot of things, right, Mitch?
Going.
Going.
Macaroni time.
Mm. But I mean, Joe just takes like a massive just back seat, you know.
I like
Where
that.
well, no, I don't, because like the whole
Like,
point, the
he
whole
just
point of
let
Nomad is to like experience Joe's like complete downfall, and then we have the chief, and he brings him back up, and now we're having the redemption with all the children, where
Yeah.
all he's doing the whole time is just repairing the gym.
Yeah, because that's like one of the things that brought them all together, and he let that fall apart because he left. I mean, there's some other reasons why he left. We learned more about him, but like I it seemed like last time we talked about this, we were on the same footing that his purpose is now outside of the ring. Like, we
Mm-hmm.
weren't meant to see him in the ring anymore. So I was totally fine seeing him like spectating and giving his
Mm-hmm.
opinions, or and just
Yeah.
whatever. Sparring is totally fine, but in the professional scene, like, I was totally fine with him just taking the back seat. I liked it. It
Hmm.
was
Yeah, but
completely random that they just
yeah,
kind
but
of sucked him
I
right back
wasn't. I'm
in.
not
Like, he was
watching this
supposed to.
show just to experience the boxing. Now I'm more invested into Joe's redemption and how he makes up with these children, or
Right.
all the people that he cared about, his quote unquote family, before
Are you
the
saying
big
that
split.
Are you saying that you don't like that he took a back seat while they were like working up this fight between Lou and Mac and all
Well,
that
no,
shit? Or
I after the whole fight with Mac and Lou, it's just Joe takes an entirely back seat. Like, he just doesn't matter in the story as much anymore. It's just the Mac show now. And
gotcha.
we get multiple episodes just going over Mac's backstory, how his family solves like the whole Roscoe like scandal, like the one like
They
what, the
finally make Yusuf
assistant
stop
girl.
dancing.
Yeah, the assistant girl, just opens the curtains, and shows all
Yeah.
the bullshit Yusuf from Roscoe was doing. And
I keep
at the
fucking
same
falling for
time,
it
at
every
the
time
same
you
time,
say
Joe is just
Rock.
going to the same fucking ramen spot, and
Yeah.
nothing that happens over here with like Yusuf from Roscoe, Mac, his family, his police friends. None of it relates to Joe, who's just kind of here, and this is like our main character.
I would
Yeah.
So we
say,
lose
I
a
would
little bit of
say,
focus, in my opinion. Not that I absolutely hated getting like the backstory with Mac and stuff, but I mean at the same time, I wanted them to focus on this a little bit more.
I agree with that. I mean, Josh, if you want to say your stuff first.
yeah. I mean, it. I'm sure we'll have to kind of talk more about it, but I would say, the biggest things that happen for Joe over the course of these 7 episodes are, getting the Team Nowhere house or training facility, whatever you want to call
The
it,
gym.
rebuilt. Um, Repairing his relationship with Sachio is a big thing that I'm sure we need to talk a lot more about. And then like finding out that he's like got some weird brain stuff going on or something. Like he's physically all the boxing physically injured him and he's like not as, I guess,
Well, that
tough
happens with
or
a lot of
whatever.
athletes. Their body gets so worn down and they have so much trauma to like their heads. Like, this happens to a lot of wrestlers. Like,
Yeah,
their
yeah.
their necks will get fucked up. Like, if they do like one more fall, like they're gonna be fucked the rest of
Yeah.
their lives. So that's why a
So
lot of people have to retire when they get
exactly.
to that
So
point.
those are kind of the three big things that happen with him. And those are all important and they take time to explain those things and cover them. But I would agree that, you know, the majority of the time is spent on developing Mac's story and like the scandal behind his brain chip and all that stuff and how the Shirato Corporation works into that and all that stuff. So like Joe has important developments, but it's like they're um like the thing that happens in the second half, or they're the thing that happens between two developments of Mac's story. You get some Joe stuff, and then it's like a Joe sandwich, and Mac's the bread. But Mac is
Rip.
supposed to be
Max the
cheese.
filling. Yeah, I see what you guys are saying. That's why I had mixed feelings because I didn't give a shit about Mac. I felt bad for him, but I didn't give a shit. Like it was Joe's story. It was his comeback story. He finally like was overcoming his demons, comes back home, faces, the threat that had pushed him away at first, and now he has to regain the trust of all the children. And one by one, he was fighting for their love again, and Sachio was like the one that got away. So
Jesus Christ, dude. You want to word that a little bit more sus? You're gonna have fucking
Oh
Chris
my
Hansen
God.
come here.
Bro.
oh,
Oh,
dude,
what are you
if he's coming,
what are you
if he's
doing
coming,
here
he's coming.
today?
If he's
Why don't you
coming,
take
he's
a
coming for
seat?
me.
And she's like,
There you go. Sorry, I had to find it.
Yeah, so that's why I was like, man, you're committing so much to this dude's story, this fucking organization with this annoying ass tap dancer bitch ass. Like,
it's you,
it
dude.
was just uh
Yeah,
yeah, I don't know, like
yeah.
that's why I didn't like it. So I think my critique for the second season is this second part. Yeah, it was nice to like they needed a villain, but I think Joe's hardships were already enough.
I mean,
And they just they like kind of forced this other issue on top of
well,
us.
do you
And
actually
I think it
feel
would have been
like
just
there
fine.
had to be like a villain?
If they wanted to follow the same plot line, like in a lot of shows that you watch, there's always like someone that there's some confrontation, there's some like I don't know what the technical term is for it, but
The
I guess the
antagonist?
only thing I can think of, yeah, something like that, I guess.
There has to be conflict to
Yeah.
drive a story.
Yeah, but
And so they kind of
the
force
conflict
this.
originally
Yeah.
is, the whole 5-year gap, and Joe, it's a redemption story. That's
Yeah.
what we care about is the redemption.
I just thought of this. The thing that I would have liked to have seen maybe instead of what we saw is like, because Sachio was doing all that underground fighting and stuff for the same dude from back in season 1.
Mhm.
I think it would have been a cooler story if like Joe made up with Sachio, not made out, Yusuf, made up with Sachio and got their relationship repaired, and then it was something along the lines of like Sachio was still trapped inside or like trapped underneath that guy's thumb, and like he couldn't leave and stop fighting and
Mhm.
go and do whatever engineering school. That's a whole other thing. But like, so Joe trains him to win some big fight against somebody, not necessarily somebody who we've been told is like an antagonist, because now the boss man is the antagonist, but he helps Sachio win. But it's not in an attempt to get Sachio to be a good boxer, it's just to save him from fighting. And then
Yeah.
it's like Joe can just be the coach and teacher figure instead of trying to get him back in the ring again. Because, I mean, obviously I'm jumping ahead, but by the end of it, we basically learn then that this is Joe's last fight, more or less, because he's so messed up from all his other
He's
fights.
got too much trauma.
Yeah, so it's like, why did we even have to get him back into the ring at all?
You gotta
Right.
have your last
Since now
final
it'll never happen
hurrah.
again.
Yeah, in a professional sense. Like I feel like the ending, like I said before, it's like pretty ambiguous, so it's kind of up to us to determine what's going to happen next. And I feel like that's the last professional fight Joe has. I feel like if Lou does recover, he'll still like spar with him, and they'll eventually have like their big fight. They're gonna have to be more chill in the future in how they fight, because yeah, Joe's pretty banged up, and he's probably like a couple solid punches to the head away from just being done. Like done. Dead. Like Chief. Rip Chief.
No amount of fucking
Damn.
hair cushion any more blows for
No,
him.
not enough of the fucking hummingbird poem. We'll save him.
You still have your hands and your legs.
Oh
I'm
Dude,
gonna
man.
sing again.
the hummingbird book was like it was too much for me. Like I
Dude,
was
I
zoning out during
swear,
that shit.
I was getting annoyed because I was like, I swear to God, if they fucking talk about the stupid hummingbird thing again, like I get it. This is like
Dude,
the
and they had
seventh
the little
time you
kid
told
reading
me,
the
dude.
fucking book
Yeah.
too. They had
Oh
the
my
little kid reading the
God.
book, and the guy wouldn't fucking spit it out. I'm like, oh my god, fucking
Yeah, the
come
kid was
The
on.
trying to read it,
hummingbird will
but they
leave
had
him
the
home.
voiceover guy in the background. I was like, who am I supposed to listen to here?
No, and then
Yeah,
like when they were telling the story, they brought up the nomad, and I was like, oh shit, like is it gonna like relate with Joe, and then Joe's gonna help out Mac, and maybe Joe turns from the nomad to the hummingbird that helps Mac as Chief help Joe. Like I feel like that would have been really cool to watch, but no, it's just you have Joe here, and then you have the entire Mac shit just completely separate.
fucking Mac show, dude.
Like
That's it.
the last like couple episodes, just the Mac show, man, and it's
Oh, yo,
just
you know what?
poem
I
sessions
think
with fucking hummingbirds.
I
Megalobox.
just figured it out. Okay, on the keyboard, if you are looking sitting in front of a keyboard,
No,
the D key and the C key are right next to each other. I think it was a typo. It's supposed to be Megalobox 2 no Mac, not Nomad, because it's all about Mac.
I'm sorry.
It was a typo.
It was all Mac. What do you mean no Mac?
You're right though. Damn. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not as clever as I thought. Take it away, Tal.
Towel, get in the seat.
Sick. Come off that hook. Come on down. Josh, we can see your shadow.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
fucking
I
creeper.
know.
Spying on the towel while he's trying to talk.
We couldn't see your shadow. I was fucking bullshitting.
The bait.
Okay.
I got
Thanks,
him.
Mitch.
Yeah.
Towels. So
Um,
I mean, we're
where
kind of
were
jumping
we?
around. We're talking about Mac and the hummingbird stuff, but should we go back to talking about Joe? I mean,
I mean, what else? What else? Like
I
what
he,
think
what
I
he
think
was
if
rebuilding
nothing else,
Joe.
we should go and touch on like when the
well,
whole
Josh,
Sachio v Joe thing
you
happened.
mentioned like kind of how you wanted it to go with Sachio like being stuck in the underground ring and stuff. I think that's like an interesting idea, but like ultimately I think that would have ruined the ending because if Sachio gets good enough to like beat like a really good like boxer, then he's just stuck in the Megalobox world. It wouldn't
That's
make
why
as
I'm
much
saying
sense
it
for him to
wouldn't have.
become into an engineer
Yeah,
like
yeah.
he
That
wanted.
that's
He was, like,
that's
never
why I'm saying
stuck
that
there.
in my hypothetical, the like focus wouldn't have been on like putting him up against a super tough opponent or like somebody with some like dark and detailed backstory or whatever. It would just be the idea that it's just like, okay, well, you've been losing like all of your fights, so you need to finally win one, and then you can like get out of here or
Yeah.
something. So
I
it
mean,
wouldn't have even necessarily been like, wow, Sachio really accomplished something huge. He beat, Gigantor. It's just he won a fucking fight for once.
fucking Godzilla comes
I
in.
don't know. I don't know. But like, yeah, or it could have been something like, hey, because you said you wanted like one last hurrah or whatever. What it would be a twist if like that guy was like, okay, well, I'm gonna set you up for a fight, and Joe's gonna train you, yada yada. And then like the big twist is the fact that all this time Joe was training Sachio, but Sachio has to fight Joe. That's the fight that he was training him for.
Mm, yeah.
Apparently, Yusuf doesn't like my idea.
I just I think that's way
I think that there are
too
just other ways to do it.
like
He
I
just
mean
wasn't stuck. He wasn't stuck there. He
no,
wanted the
he's
money,
saying it's like
but
the hypothetical kind of
yeah,
situation
It's
instead of focusing on the
it's
Mac
just
shit
a way to make it an interesting ending without
with
involving this
it
whole other character with a
encompassing like
whole other
Joe.
backstory with a whole other slew of episodes that we need to spend time learning about. It's like just
Mhm.
keep it to the core set of characters we already know and love instead of fucking making us learn all this other backstory just leading up to what we inevitably know will happen, which is there will be a final fucking fight.
I mean,
and that'll
I
be the
thought
ending of everything.
I thought about what you said, and to me, I didn't think the tribal, like the dragon or snake tattoo guy, would be that merciful to like let the last fight be Joe and Sachio. But now that I think about it, he was pretty merciful in this season because he was just like, "Hey,
I don't think it would even be.
quit bitching at each other. Let's solve this shit in the ring." And then he
Yeah.
lets them have like a a
It
quick
and
exhibition
it wouldn't have
match.
necessarily been mercy to have them fight each other. I think it would just been a twist or whatever to have them fight each other. But he, obviously there would have been some sort of like fucking rule where he would be like, I'll know if you start pulling your punches, and I'll know if you don't take this seriously, or I'll know if you throw this fight because I've seen both of you fucking losing fights all the time. Or like
Hmm.
specifically Joe, like he would pull Joe aside and be like, if you throw this fight, I'll know because I've seen you throw a shit ton of fights. So you have to actually fight Sachio. I don't know.
I think he
Obviously,
was
this
just
doesn't
ready.
really matter because this is all hypothetical. I'm just making a case for not having to spend so much time on Mac time.
Macaroni.
That's all.
I mean, that maybe that's why they call it Mac time because yeah, he
Spend
enters
so
a
much fucking
zone, but
time.
it's the entire fucking half of the second half is fucking Mac show, dude. It's all Mac time.
Yeah,
Yep.
I
Well,
mean,
what if we connect the dots? Like, what happens after like the fallout of the match between him and Lou? Yeah, Lou is fucking done. That's it. He's gone. Goodbye.
mhm.
Okay, he's in the background. Happily ever after.
Mac is led
Then
to
we got
believe that
like
he's such a great boxer, like he's the next legend, the next king of kings, or as
yeah.
they
The
just
next
symbolize him as a
Gigantor.
hero. Yeah, the next fucking
Now we got
Megatron. And this whole time he has no idea, he doesn't remember any of the fights because he goes into his fucking peanut butter jelly mac and cheese mode, and
Yep.
he doesn't remember
Bro.
any of it.
I just also want to say it's pretty. I think it's pretty cool. Now we have Yuri, which was the original like all reigning champ. Then Joe, then Lou, and now Macaroni. So now we got like four people. But like after that fight, I don't know what. Like Joe's just fucking minding his own business, rebuilding the shit that got destroyed by the typhoon. Playing with the children there. It's totally fine.
Say something, Mitch. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm.
And all of a sudden, tap dancer Yui is like, "Yeah, Joe said he was gonna fight him."
He embraced it.
Yes.
And then yeah, and then fucking tap dancer's like, yeah, Joe's gonna fight him too, by the way. And then Joe's like, what the fuck? Dude,
Hmm.
I'm fucking hammering this fucking nail, dude. What are you talking about?
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know,
So they
man.
call out Joe. And Joe's
The
like,
one thing I don't
I don't wanna
like
fucking do
about
this.
this entire like second half of this season is just it feels like the villain is really forced. Like
Yeah.
at first I didn't know. Like when we were first introduced to fucking Yusuf from Rosa, where the fuck it's called? Rasa?
Just
Rosen, Rosen. Them.
yeah. That
It gets worse and worse, dude.
that
So
guy.
I originally thought he was a bad guy, but then like, they showed like a bunch of like nice scenes between him and like Mac's family and stuff, but then ultimately it was just like he doesn't care about humans. He doesn't value the fucking, value of a human life. He doesn't give a shit about who he has to sacrifice to, move technology into the future. And he's gonna
Yeah.
implant the fucking Baskin Robin chips into
Be
soldiers,
right back.
and then they're gonna go into battle.
Bye,
They're gonna
Yusuf.
have like major medical issues, and that's when they put in the fucking chips. And so then they could just get shipped back and just die for their country. But
Hmm.
ultimately, it's just them going into their own macaroni and cheese time and just getting fucking bodied.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it just I don't feel like this story really needed a bad guy. I don't feel like I mean
Hmm.
we could have got like some like backstory of Mac, and we could have got some of his like motivations and stuff, but I feel like we didn't need Mac at all. I felt like we could have just chilled with Lou because his motivations were good enough for me. Like I'm game. Like let's train. Let's get ready for this fight. Let's build the relationship back with Joe, the
Welcome back,
children,
Yusuf.
Sachio, and everyone else. And I think we could have got a pretty solid ending.
Yeah, yeah.
But I mean,
I agree.
I'm saying that just because it's just not the way I wanted the story to go. I wanted it to focus more on the redemption part of Joe, but instead we're focusing on this completely other character and this bad guy that's just kind of here to be bad. And I'm slightly disappointed in that, but ultimately I still enjoyed the show all around, and I think it had a very good ending.
Yeah, yeah. I think I don't want to spend too much more time on hypotheticals and Josh's ideas for better stories because that's not what we're here to watch. But like, imagine that all of the shit with the brain chip going wrong and all the stuff having to be swept under the rug was not a problem, and it was just like PTSD that Mac had from when he ran into the building and was like fighting that gang and saving those kids. And really, all that Mac time was him just like going into fight or flight mode, like when he was in that building. Like that's all that Mac time was, and by the end of it he can still overcome it like he does in the show by like focusing on his family. But
Family.
all the other fucking drama and scandal is just not a thing because it's just about Mac helping himself or like having that personal victory. I think that would be more interesting, and then it avoids all that other bullshit.
Well, with the whole Mac situation, the way I wanted it to pan out was they we mentioned earlier about like the whole hummingbird like poem or whatever, and they say in it like the nomad will or there's a hummingbird that leads the nomad back home, or they keeps telling them the story like about life or some shit, and then eventually the nomad makes it to a lake where you get a wish, and then after the nomad's experience with the hummingbird, all the nomad wants is the way to find home. And that's why the hummingbird is symbolic in the story because it will always lead the nomad home. So I was hoping the way it would roll is at the start of this series, Joe's the nomad, Chief is the hummingbird, Joe finds his way back home, and then he evolves
Done.
into his own
Bird.
like form of a hummingbird and leads Mac home. That I think that would have been pretty solid. That's how I thought it was gonna roll, but no, it just
Yeah.
Joe.
I mean, more or less. I mean, more or less. I don't know. I guess they share the moment. They being Joe and Mac, and surprisingly, like I don't know, they got along better than I had thought. But it kind of shows that they're people behind being fighters and shit. So like it doesn't. You do your shit in the ring, and it is what it is. That's why Lou didn't have any hard feelings. He's like, it was in the ring. He was just my opponent. That's just what happened. Whatever.
He's a
Now
boxer,
I'm
you know.
fucking dead. It is what it is.
Mm.
But yeah, I don't know. I had mixed feelings about the ending. I don't know if we want to talk about the ending just yet because like we had the whole closure with Joe rebuilt, like holding down the fort with almost all the children. When like the final typhoon raged over the land, they
Well,
managed with everyone
and
there.
then afterwards, he, you know, gets into the ring with Sachio, and they fight out their feelings, and then Sachio pretty much doesn't entirely forgive Joe, but he seems like he's willing to move on, and they all pretty much come back to it as a family. Joe shares his nomad adventures, and then that's pretty much the end of that. Because then it just turns to Joe getting ready to fight Mac, and then we have the whole Mac story.
But they're all like now they reopen the gym. Lou asked Yuri to help Joe because Yuri didn't want to help Joe because he's like, you saw what the fuck he did to Lou, so you're not gonna do that. And Joe's like, well, I don't know if I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna talk to my kids. So uh Yuri's like babysitting Lou, and Lou's like, nah, dude, you gotta go help him. Like he needs you. No, no, you guys gotta work together. So Yuri goes there, Joe's with the kids, and then we have this moment where it's like, yeah, Sachio has this regret that he sent you away. He feels like he's responsible. But, as for us, all you had to do was ask, man. All you had to do was ask. And Joe's like, all right, y'all want me to fight? And they're like, I don't fucking know. Do you want to fight?
Yeah.
No, pretty much
But they do a
everyone
little,
but the one like ramen kid says
yeah,
fine, it's your
Ramen's like,
choice.
I didn't want Joe to fight either. I was with Ramen Boy. I was with Bonji Boy.
Well,
But
that's just Joe. He wants to fight. It's plain and
yeah.
simple.
So then
Just a
now
fighter.
he has everyone's approval. Everyone's good. Everyone's on good terms. Sachio's still being a little bitch. He's like, "Oh, I don't forgive you. I won't forget. I'm just gonna fucking have my fucking moment over here by the fucking
But
door."
yeah, I'm gonna.
Okay, Yuri's rolling in. Yo, what's up, Yuri?
Then the wolf comes
Fucking
in.
rolls in.
But if
Yuri's like, "Yo,
things
what's up?"
go sideways, I'm throwing in the towel.
Which
Yeah.
that
Another
was great.
person just willing to heartlessly throw towels around, dude. I can't fucking believe this show.
I did get hyped during the last fight with Joe and Mac when the fucking Megalobox theme came on, like that. Dun, dun, dun,
Like the
dun, dun,
original
dun.
OG.
Oh, dude, I was fucking hopping in my bed. I was like, "Fuck yeah, dude, let's go, let's
I
go!"
mean, they were doing
And it was pretty much cut short because Sachio froze in the towel, like without any consideration for other people with their towels. It's fucked
yeah.
up.
What do you guys think about that then? Did you already talk about that when I was gone?
No,
Or
good choice.
yeah, what
Good choice.
how'd you it was a good choice?
Yeah, it was.
Because he said Joe was just going in, he was just gonna get he was just getting hit. Like he went
Well,
in just to get
no, the whole like premise of like the hummingbird and all that like bullshit that they were kept spouting is that this fight wasn't about winning. This fight was about making it home afterwards. That was it.
Yeah.
That's why
Yeah.
Joe wore Chiefs gear. That's why Sachio threw in the towel because he knew Joe's condition, and it was only round. It was like close to the end of round 2, and that's when he threw in the towel because he felt, fucking Nombra. What his fucking name is?
Cautious.
He felt his
Mambu.
hand. Yeah, Nambu. He felt
Nambu's
his hand,
Nambu
and then
Mambo.
fucking he threw in the towel. So I thought that was a great final fight because Mac gets the W, Joe takes the L, but at the end of the day, everyone won that fight because Joe made it home.
Everybody made it home.
Everyone's satisfied with the fight and how it turned out. Joe's able to retire professionally. Mac's able to retire professionally, knowing that he didn't go into his whole Mac time mode, and he was able to keep himself focused and have his family there to support him. So all around, I thought it was a great final fight. It wasn't about winning, losing. It was just about both characters getting what they want at the end. I thought that
yeah.
was very good symbolically with the whole hummingbird shit.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I think that's fair. Yeah, because then I think they realized that in the end, I think Mac was the better fighter. Like just all in all, like he just had way better skill because he was like performing like he normally would in Mac time. Like performance exceeded like all his previous
Mm.
tests, but he was still in complete control. So they're like, yeah, I
Well,
mean
yeah, they show
he's not
that Mac's like a good boxer, but I don't know. I feel like Joe could have potentially won, but I think the ramifications of because Joe is a really strong wall. He's a brick wall. He could take a lot of punishment, but they called the fight early because that would be
he can't take like physically cannot if he wants to
he
make
could
it back.
take it in the fight. It's just afterwards he's gonna face like major consequences, especially in the
Well, that's the
future.
thing. They needed that gear to protect him. Like, yeah, he might be able to take it, but he like literally he can take it, but he shouldn't because he'll die.
Yeah, he's getting a little old for the boxing ring. But yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So
and
I
then
have mixed feelings about that because like symbolically it was nice. It fulfilled the purpose of what each character needed or what each character provided. I would have liked to see like what a real fight would have been, if it actually played out. But I think it's totally fair how they ended it. So I felt like oh, I just felt like there was something missing from that. But it's supposed to be kind of wholesome, so
yeah,
it's fine, I guess.
it's just like the whole like Yusuf from fucking Roscoe or wherever, that all that shit just I don't know, just stopped mattering to me, especially when you got to the final fight.
Yeah.
She was
Yeah.
like the head lady from the first season comes in, she's like, "Hey, I'm about to shit on you, but I'm not going to do it like publicly right now. I'm just going to do it behind closed doors because I got this piece of evidence against you. That means you're going to give me this, and then we're going to fucking cut deals. Then eventually she just released all the information to the public anyway.
Yeah, and
so
he still got fucking
that-
arrested. I was like, what a
that
cold-hearted bitch.
that whole conversation really didn't mean shit, and she had to step down as the leader and had her secretary or her friend go up the ranks.
CEO position.
Mm-hmm.
And now she's a full-time, like, she runs the orphanage now for the other kids.
Or just picked them up. I don't fucking know.
Full-time nanny, dude.
That was like the first time Joe saw her after all that shit too. If you think about it, she just rolls up in a fucking minivan and it's just like, "Hey, what's up?
Like,
I look like a housewife
you got all
now."
these kids in your car. She's like, "Hey, yeah, what's up, man? Yeah, here they are."
Bunch of kids in a white van, and everybody's cool with it. No red flags.
So, I mean, I think the ending was good. Joe and Sachio drive off their separate ways because Sachio took the letter of recommendation for the engineer course and he started to drive off in Joe's bike, and Joe rode back, and Nambu was in the back drinking, and of course there was another fucking hummingbird, and that's how we ended the show.
Yes. That was funny in the flashback with Nambu that the fucking band-aid with the little flower was still on his hand.
Dude, that was rough to watch, man. Because he was like fucking, he was skinny as shit, man. You could tell he didn't have much time. Yeah. That was fucking brutal to see.
Right at the end, yeah. But that's it. Nomad, man. Another one checked off the list.
Should be.
I will say, despite I think I speak for all of us, even Mitch, when I say that despite our criticisms of the second half of Nomad and Megalobox season 2, I liked it a lot more than season 1, and I think it was really great. Despite how much we've been laying into Mac time and all the time devoted to
good.
Mac,
like it's
still great. Yeah.
What would you guys rate this?
Did we rate the first season?
No, I think we were. I mean, we can break it up first and second, and then all together.
I'll start off then. Like I really did enjoy season 1. I love the music. I mean, there's definitely like a lack of motivation, I think, for me to like rewatch it because like I don't really care about Joe's character or anything in season 1, but I still enjoyed the fights, the music, the drama that happened. It seemed like kind of your generic like underdog boxing story. So I'll give it a 7 out of 10 for this first season. For Nomad, I loved how they just made everything like sad and gloomy, and they turned it into a redemption story. Like the first half of it with Chief and all that, I thought was awesome. I loved how Joe was, rekindling his relationships with everybody, how it started off as shit and he slowly started to make up with them. And at the end, I thought we ended it on a very positive note. So that's why I was going to give it an 8. So it goes up 1 point, but all around, I think Megalobox is a really nice show to watch. I don't think you can go wrong with it. It's just the whole Mac shit kind of, and we kind of lose like Joe's whole motivation. Like, he just wants to fight. That's it. It's like, okay, cool. Show over yet? Love it.
Now, for me, the first season. I mean, we talked about it already. I mean, if you want to know what we think, go ahead and watch our other podcasts covering the first. Yeah, self-plug right there.
Give us the views.
I mean, I recommend it.
Rewatch all of it.
Catch us on Spotify if you don't want to watch our dumb faces.
Towel says watch.
Keep you on this.
I just realized no on Spotify gets the whole towel thing. Watch us on YouTube so you can see my towel.
Yeah.
Hear that, audio listeners? Fuck yourselves.
Whoa.
Hey, that's the towel, not me. I don't know when that thing started talking like me. But
you don't speak for the towel, Travis.
The towel was speaking for me. I don't know why. It was fucked up, dog.
So anyway, like Yusuf was saying.
Yeah, I mean, I recommended Megalobox for a reason, and I probably still will. but I can't, man, it's just hard for me to separate season 1 from season 2. Like
Yeah.
now after watching Nomad,
They're very different.
yeah, they're way way different. So I mean, I kind of have to because they're all relative. So I'd probably say a 6 out of 10 for me on the first season. And then if the rest of the second season was like the first half of the second season, it would have been an 8 out of 10 for me. But the second half brought it down just a bit, so I'd probably say 7 out of 10 for the second season. So I still think that's a
That's
fair rating. I would still recommend it. It's totally fine, but you do need to watch both seasons to get the full
You
experience
really
and
do.
make that comparison and stuff.
yeah. I don't mean to sound like a copycat or a broken record here, but I was thinking the same thing. I was gonna say 6 out of 10 for season 1. Fights are cool, but on the whole, I feel like we all ended up rooting for characters that weren't Joe at different times throughout the show, so that's a little problematic. And then with season 2, the first half was like an 8 out of 10. I thought they did a really good job with cool characters that we were all interested in and had unique motivations and stories. And then for the second half, clearly we all had some critiques. So that ends up being like a 7 out of 10 for the whole of season 2.
Yeah.
Still better than the first, but felt
I may
like
have
something ended up like shifting towards the second half and just kind of made me like it less.
I may have rated it a bit higher if I didn't fucking remind you guys of the tap dancer. Who knows?
Just because your hair, I don't know.
I guess so. I mean, if
Oh yeah. The
give me
poofy
some tap
hair, the
dancing
glasses,
shoes,
all that shit.
Yeah, exactly.
if you give me some tap dancing shoes, I mean, you might hear like a couple taps before you hear like my body just fucking fall on the ground.
At least have like the
We
hand
get-
motions while doing it.
If we get 10,000 likes on this video, we'll get Yusuf to dress up and do a cosplay as that tap dancing fucker.
Jesus Christ.
Yikes.
Hey, we gotta get incentives here.
No, I mean, we gotta get the like incentives for Mitch and the Chica dance. That's the
don't.
real incentive.
Trav doesn't
there.
want to
Oh
edit
yeah.
that.
Oh yeah. Trav's gonna
I'm
edit.
speaking for Trav right now. He doesn't want to edit that.
Uh,
But yeah,
Mitch
don't let our
all
like
his skill,
sore
glory.
spots of Nomad to dissuade you from watching the show. We all think it's pretty good. It's one of those shows that I will say is just safe. It's a safe watch. I don't think you'll be disappointed watching it. It's
mhm.
the generic underdog story in season 1, and it's a solid redemption story with some hiccups.
I think even though it's
just
even though
it
it's
didn't go the way we wanted it, but still all around it was still good.
even though it was like a sports themed one, I think the you would still enjoy it even if it wasn't for the sports because I didn't go into it. I mean, yeah, I like boxing, but I'm not like, oh my god, boxing is like the best sport ever. I'm not like a diehard fan. It was entertaining. It has enough action with the right amount of like story building and gets you pretty immersed and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Definitely, you don't have to be a fan of boxing or all that passionate about it to just enjoy this anime, and I think that, I'm proof of that. You're proof of that.
Yeah, but ultimately, I think that's everything we need to say about Megalobox. What do you have to say, Mitch?
Yeah, what's your rating?
Sweat. Oh, jeez. Sweaty men? All right, dude.
Dang.
Well, with that, seems like we are done with Megalobox, sadly. But that means we're going to be ending this episode of this episode podcast. So whoever hung out, thanks for hanging out. We appreciate it. Hope you all have a good rest of your week. And maybe Mitch will stop, dreaming about sweaty people. But yeah, with that, roll the outro.
Not likely.
On the next episode of this episode, Trav, Josh, Mitch, and Yusuf discuss episodes 1 through 6 of Cowboy Bebop. We're not asking for any woolongs, but if you enjoyed the video, make sure to drop a like and hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed already. While you're there, ring the bell to turn on notifications. You won't want to miss it when new episodes go live. And if you want to support us elsewhere, follow us on Spotify at This Episode Podcast. And head on over to twitch.tv/DutchRead, where you can watch us live every Monday night. Thanks for watching. See you, Space Cowboy.